Hello, hello. We are the Transpositions. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. How are things going, ladies?
Oh, having a fun day. A bunch of stuff going on, but there's a bunch of stuff going on everywhere, isn't there? We've got the government coming to take the guns. We've got drama in so much drama in the trans community, like on the cover. I'm sure we'll be talking about that momentarily, but that's not the only story involving Buck Angel this week.
Oh, wonderful.
The less I hear
Yeah,
about Buck Angel, the better, actually. But
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're gonna buck
I
Angel
don't
your face
really,
off today. He's
here's
he's got angry old man yelling at cloud energy now.
Mhm.
here's the thing. I do realize that you know some of these personalities have meaning to us because they are in at least partially in the broader society sometimes representative of us, and they're just bad representation. Uh, but
Yeah.
so I guess we got to talk about it. But to be honest, I don't really think that most people know who the fuck Buck Angel is. So it's like,
No, he's
you know,
mostly only known within the community and not even the whole community. Like it's the community who are
no,
looking for advocates and they're like, "Oh, I see that." I mean, there's so many people who only know of a certain Blair because of her
yeah,
being a
right,
public
yeah,
face. And
right,
sometimes it's an introduction to the community, which is unfortunate, but can't really be helped. Giant audience
right.
and all that algorithms.
So,
But
for our tiny audience, I'd like to ask the people in the chat that, how many people in the chat know who the fuck we're talking about right now? Type one if you know, and type zero if you don't. Just a little one.
binary.
Yeah,
Are we just talking about Buck Angel? Or are we also talking about Samantha
yeah.
Lux? Because I think a lot
Just
of
no,
people know
no,
who
no.
Samantha Lux is. She's a hell of an
Just.
advocate.
Indeed, indeed.
Mhm.
Just who the fuck is Buck Angel? How many of y'all know how many people are watching this fucking thing right now?
Yeah,
I don't
everybody
know.
here knows who Samantha Lux is because we featured her before.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well,
So we got six
the
watching right now.
story.
How many? Yeah, sadly, Anarchic Fox knows who Buck Angel is. Okay, Haley has no fucking clue who Buck Angel is. All right, who else is in the chat? My informed song. Do you know who Buck Angel is? Come on now.
That's unfinished, but yeah.
Unfinished song. Okay, well, whatever.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I don't have I have
Formerly
impaired
Melancholy
vision.
Journey. Because the name is
One kind of
unfinished. But
sorta. Okay. One
yeah.
kind, so we got three people in the chat who know who Buck Angel is. Well, two people and one who doesn't. So we've got, yeah, all right. We have a fairly informed community. Okay, we just had more people join. And you can all do this too as we go on.
Yeah.
If you know who Buck Angel is, you can type a one, and if you don't, you can type a zero, and then we'll have. But let's go on with the story because Buck Angel's an asshole. And
Yeah. We're
oh
not. I'm
Jesus,
not starting with the
I
Buck
just
Angel
insulted him.
story. I'm not
Yeah, he's
starting
Oh,
gotta
with
wait
okay,
his
that.
damn
That's
turn.
that's
He's not
we
that
got
all
to go
right,
through
important.
all this stuff first. Because
all
first they got
right,
to come take the
cool.
guns away from us. This includes you, Steph. So I think you're
Yeah, that's
a
kind of
gun owner, aren't
unfortunate.
you?
Well, cold dead hands and all of that stuff. It's just,
Yep.
Yeah.
and I'm not too far away from that. My hands do get cold from time to time. I've got the thing. That venous, whatever the fuck it is. As one does at a certain age. But my ankles are still pretty skinny.
Yeah, let's see. In the wake of
Let's
the
go. Roll it.
Minneapolis Catholic Church shooting,
Yeah.
senior Justice Department officials are weighing proposals to limit transgender people's rights to possess firearms, according to two officials familiar with the internal discussion.
Sure. You betcha.
The talks described as preliminary in nature appeared to build on the idea that has gained some currency in conservative media that since the Minneapolis shooting that killed 2 and
Unalive.
injured 21, most of them children, at the Annunciation Catholic Church, an attack that police say was carried out by a 23-year-old transgender woman. No, that's
Well,
not true.
Wait. Where's this story from, Bree?
CNN.
Okay.
Liberal media.
So I want everybody to observe what the media does with stories like this. You start with the justice that people are trying to take away trans people's constitutional rights, and yes, the Second Amendment is part of the Constitution, but it starts with this proposal, and then what it does is goes and details the story that's causing this. Transgender firearms kills children. It's a narrative being built in front of your eyes, people. It is sheer propaganda. It is directed. If you have two neurons to rub together in your head, you can see where CNN wants to go with the story. Continue.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that that claiming that the shooter was transgender is not correct anyway. I believe at the time or most recently they had become a detransitioner, which is
yes, exactly. Which is like, so you dismiss the nuance and you just hammer on the trans thing and trans, dangerous, guns, blah blah blah. This is what I'm talking about. This is propaganda. That's why I asked, where is the story from? And you cannot trust. None of us can trust anybody in mainstream media to tell our stories, because they don't care about us and they don't understand us and they don't want to paint us in a decent light. I'm sorry, this is Steffing here. I am sick and tired of this narrative. Every time there is take the New York Times, the newspaper of record. How many stories has the New York Times published where they just are asking questions? It started with just asking questions, and it's gone way beyond that. Now we're talking about taking away people's constitutional rights.
Because of what kind of
to be frank about this for our audience, I kind of feel like we should start just pulling up not just the liberal media, but the right-wing media too.
Absolutely everybody.
Being framed
bullshit.
Because if we show people how things are being framed, the way narratives are being scripted, the way events like this are being presented to the public, they really believe that. They really believe that this was a transgender woman. They really believe that there's been like the last 9 of these school attacks were done by someone who's transgender. They make little graphs about it and stuff with totally fake data. It's all over social media, and somebody needs to step up and say, "Hey," they'll even put like official seals on it and stuff. But even though it's not from where they say it's from.
Look, from my point of view, that's what we're here for. It's like, if you want news from from the perspective of a trans woman, especially an old fucking hag of a trans woman, you're going to get it here.
Come on now, damn.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me. I'm being self-referential here, Bree. I mean, give me a break. the point is, people, I see this, you see this, we're presenting these stories, and I'm going to, I've seen the story. It was talked about on Takis earlier today. It's like, and as a matter of fact, it was their poll. By the way, if you don't know the Transatlantic Call-In Show, you should be friggin' watching it. I was fortunate enough to be able to have the afternoon off, so I got to watch it in full for the first time live in a long time. But anyway, that's what we're here for. We're not taking calls. We're going through the news. And so we're going to go through this story, but I just want to say from the outset, from the jump, you got to look at how the framing is happening, because we are being systematically and quite honestly, consciously screwed over by media coverage of anything trans.
People need to, when people start talking about this gun restriction stuff that they're talking about for trans people, right? You're getting into an area like you're talking like Reagan in the late 70s and early 80s when he was governor of California, and he got on this high horse about banning assault weapons, as I believe was the term he used. And that's Ronald Reagan, champion.
Keep on going with the story, because I got something to say about that particular incident
one
too,
more note.
and when he did it, the reason he did it. So keep on going with the story. But anyway, Ember, go ahead.
Yeah. Obviously, the fact that this is a direct attack on trans people's rights is the main thing we're here to talk about. But do bear in mind, this is the proverbial nose under the camel's tent. If they pull this bullshit off, then they can just take the same argument, turn right around and say, oh, look at all the crimes perpetrated by armed black people. Let's take away all the black people's guns. Now let's take away the Latino people's guns, etc.
I think we need Bree to unwind the story a little bit more before I show.
You want me to read more of this CNN coverage? Okay.
Directly, I show directly how that is very, very fucking true, Ember. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, it wasn't until 2004 that there were certain regulations on guns that Reagan put in place. But anyway, I'll continue reading. Such a move would represent a dramatic escalation of the Trump administration's fight against the rights of transgender Americans.
And now they're shifting the story. They're no longer talking about the thing Trump is doing. They're talking about stuff Trump has already done. Like, yes, this is the headline, but forget about that. Now we're talking about this.
Right. And it's and maybe it's another step and blah blah blah. It's like as if it didn't matter to you, and it doesn't matter to you, and it shouldn't matter to you. That's the framing that's going on here. It shouldn't matter to you. Oh, we're just asking questions. Are trans people sane? It's disgusting.
And President Donald Trump has issued a series of executive orders on the topic, including one barring transgender people from serving in the military, and another ordering federal prisons to move transgender inmates to facilities corresponding to the gender assigned at birth.
They're retroactively connecting the dots, and there were the dots that we were telling people in 2018 that were going to be connected. And this is so stupid.
Texas sharpshooter
fucking news media is like they're so goddamn far in the past, and I have to say that that so many people would tell you, oh yeah, this looks really pretty bad, but we have your back. It's like, okay, that's good, but you somehow or another, the way things develop in the public sphere, you gotta have my back there too. Sorry, guys.
In
but it's-
addition-
you might want to have some fucking skin in the game.
In addition, the idea of restricting gun rights has long been a red line for conservatives. To many Republican lawmakers and gun right groups opposing red flag laws and or policies aimed at keeping guns away from people suffering from mental health issues, because you're going to end up taking guns away from most of the police force if you do that.
Just take guns away from every American now. Name a person.
If you start taking guns away based on having mental health issues, you're going to be taking guns away from a lot of people a lot of people are going to get caught in the crossfire, pun intended. But the Justice Department leadership is seriously considering whether it can use its rulemaking authority to follow on to Trump's determination to bar military service by transgender people and declare that people who are transgender are mentally ill and can lose their Second Amendment rights to possess firearms, according to one justice official. I'm like absolutely disgusted here.
Okay, so here's the thing.
This is the part where they listen. Hold on, just give me a second. This is the part where they take the guns away from us, so that it's right before the camps, right? Isn't that how that goes?
Right before the camps, yes.
Disarm us, and then we're easier to collect.
Look, there are many other things that were right before the camps, but yeah, this is one of a collection of things that were right before the camps. But there's an inherent contradiction here. It's like, well, you can't let the trannies into the military because they're cray cray, and then you can't let them have weapons at all because they're cray cray. It's this long narrative of the trannies are cray cray, and CNN is literally presenting it as if, hey, they might have a point. This is a thing, and this is how we got here. This is how we got here, folks, because you've let the Overton window slide so far. I'm not even going to say to the right. I'm just going to say to hatred, literal hatred of trans people. That for all your good tidings and all of you're one of the good ones, or blah blah blah, and we'll talk about the good ones, I think, in an additional story coming up.
Oh yeah, let's first.
Y'all, cis people have let this happen to us, and some of us have been saying, this is going to happen to us if you don't say something. Every now and again, we get a little victory, but God damn it, we need to see a lot more victories. And as Lux was saying on Takis today, it's like, I just don't see it. It was saying that the Supreme Court will make an exception for trans people when it comes to Second Amendment, when it comes to 2A rights, and it may be right.
Well,
it may be right.
There's another important note on that last story. At the end, it mentioned how the only way you can be stripped of the right to have firearms is to be adjudicated.
Defective?
Yes, you have to be adjudicated legally mentally defective, which, first of all, you can't do to an entire class. You have to do it person by person. But even if they do it to an entire category of people, that's done to determine whether a person is competent to stand trial or not. And that is critically important, because if they do apply that legal term, mentally defective, even if it's just an excuse to take away our guns, it means we're also not competent to stand trial, which means they can charge us with anything, and we can never clear
Exactly.
our own names because we can't
Exactly.
stand trial. We go directly to asylums.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's pernicious. The whole thing is pernicious, and nobody in the mainstream press is pointing this out. Nobody is sitting there saying, "Hey, they're not crazy. They're just different." Maybe somebody ought to do that. Maybe someone in the mainstream press ought to do that rather than just sort of saying, "Hey, the Justice Department is considering this, that, or the other thing." Maybe they ought to say, well, the Justice Department are a bunch of fucking Nazis.
Yeah, the Justice Department isn't dishing out very much justice doing that.
You
No,
know?
they're too busy distracting from justice. You know, there's a certain list
Yeah,
or a group of files that they're trying very hard not
never
to.
mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
never mind
Yeah.
never mind the fact that the president of the United States wants to grab women by their pussies. Never mind that the president of the United States has been adjudicated in a court of law to having done exactly that.
Held civilly liable. Mm-hmm.
You know, it is not. It is insane that the press coverage of this issue as a theoretical, not so theoretical, but as a this argument is going to be made, and for people looking at this, they're getting their news from CNN, they're getting their news from Fox News, and they're getting their news from MSNBC. And the fact that none of them, not one of those people, the reporters reporting the fact, not and goddamn few of the people standing on the side trying to give interpretation of what's the facts behind the news, are saying this is where the shit's going, is indicative to me that nobody gives a shit about us. Not, at least not the people with the money. I mean, the people with the money are looking at us, the people that are our friends, the people with the money that are our friends are saying, isn't it a shame? What a shame. Of course, we won't let you suffer the consequences of these policies. And that's absolute bullshit. We will suffer the consequences of these policies. And if you don't stand up and say, and this is what I tell people that tell me this, and people do tell me this. If you don't stand up and say this is garbage, then what can I say? Just don't talk to me no more.
Yeah, we gotta move on from that story. That's not gonna be the last time we talk about it, but definitely not gonna be the last time we talk about it, because if the Justice Department is doing it and the people we have in office right now, it's gonna come up
Are
again.
assholes.
But
Yep.
let me move on to this follow-up story, which is a little more I think a little more of a good news. What sometimes the court system works. We'll see how this goes, though. Gender critical activist Graham Linehan called trans women groomers and incels court here. So that's this guy. He's I guess he's a kind of like a comedian is the best way to describe him. But he wrote The Office, right? Or did he wrote Father Ted? I know that.
Father Ted and the It Crowd.
The It Crowd, yeah. There you go. Grant Linehan has arrived in court for a trial over criminal damage and harassment charges against an 18-year-old trans girl. The 57-year-old gender critical activist arrived outside Westminster Magistrate Court wearing a trans flag placard featuring the slogan, "There's no such thing as a transgender child," on one side and "Keep men out of women's sports" on the other, ahead of the court hearing on Thursday. So he wore, like, I'm guessing it's like a sandwich board sign kind of thing.
Yep.
Weird. He's a weird guy. He's the one who was like, J.K. Rowling, pay attention to me.
Right?
He's a guy who destroyed his fucking life by hitching his star to hating trans people. He destroyed his life.
His whole family doesn't want anything to do with him. His wife and kids, and yeah.
It's so important to protect women, even if women don't want
it. Folks, you want to curb this kind of thing? Do the kind of thing that Graham Linehan's family and friends did to him. Ostracize them. You want to hold these views? Okay. You can start out by saying those views are kooky. You can start out there. If you keep on going, then it's like, take it somewhere else. Yeah.
Graham Linehan was arrested in April on criminal damage and harassment charges against 18-year-old transgender teenager Sophia Brooks. The Father Ted co-creator is accused of harassing Brooks on social media in October of 2024, damaging her mobile phone valued at 369 pounds during a London conference. In the same month, he pled guilty to the charges in May.
Not
What's
guilty.
awesome is that
he pled not guilty. Sorry, he pled not guilty.
What's awesome is the charges are so trivial, and it's like, you are that petty. It's perfect. It's like, you are that petty.
So I'm gonna be that bitch.
It's incredibly stupid on his part too, because he was actually arrested on charges of assault because he attacked Sophia. That's how her phone got damaged. They downgraded the charges so that he'd accept a guilty plea.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you are that petty that you're going to go after. It's Graham Glinner,
yes, Graham Linehan.
This is Stephanie talking. Get a fucking life.
Graham Linehan used to go after Katie Montgomery hard on Twitter.
Oh yeah. Well,
they had plenty of back and forth. I mean, Katie gets into it with with lots of people. She rumbles with J.K. Rowling and Matt Walsh, all these right-wing influencers.
Well, I honestly don't see the point. From I don't see the. Damn it! I have done the tumble in the hay. Well, no, I'm sorry. Did I say that? I didn't mean tumble in the hay. I mean I've gotten into it with people, but it's like at the end of the day, these people are not worth talking to unless you can expose them. And the beauty of stories like this is like this guy got exposed. Are you fucking kidding me? You literally fucking assaulted somebody and took their fucking iPhone and smashed it. And it's kind of a simple thing. It's like, you don't do that to somebody else. Let's cut it down. Let's cut it down to reality here. You don't get to do that. You don't get to walk up to somebody, smash them in the face, and take their fucking iPhone.
Yeah, it's
you don't get to do
assault,
that.
Basic destruction of private property.
To anybody. That guy has nothing to do with trans or
and
whatever.
He's trying to make it a hate crime. He's trying to make it a hate crime. It's Let's say about 20 minutes later, Mr. Linehan crossed the street with his phone recording. Brooks told the court. He asked me how many kids I had groomed. Then he walked into the Battle of Ideas conference. Brooks said the 57-year-old then began hurling insults, calling her a groomer, incel, and a sissy porn watching scumbag. After Brooks allegedly, sorry, the sissy porn thing gets me every time. It's like, yes, you can be brainwashed by porn into being trans. That's how it works. You change your whole life because of porn. What universe do these people live in?
Magic
One
Land.
in which they are obsessed with porn and link trans people to porn, which in my feeble mind thinks they jack off to trans people every fucking minute of the day. Sorry, but it's like, how the what? Come on, get over yourselves.
After Brooks allegedly asked why Linehan had called her a domestic terrorist on social media, she alleged that he whacked her phone out of her hand. Julia
Really?
Fowler Walker,
Whacked.
prosecuting, told the court Linehan was clearly proud of what he had done because a few days later he tweeted, "I'm quite proud. I grabbed his phone and threw it across the road."
How do
I
you know he's
imagine
proud?
that
He said, I'm proud.
I am. Yeah, I imagine actually that Glinner's little soldier was very proud at the moment, and by
I'm
proud I mean erect.
That's how you defend women, by attacking women, apparently. He just
Yeah.
he doesn't even get the irony of, like, he's proving the point that the threat is men like him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
Clearly, he was pleased from gaining a sense of superiority over someone on the other side of the ideological debate. Linehan had allegedly instigated a harassment campaign against the 18-year-old through a series of X tweets.
Again, tell me,
And
57.
this is
I think?
56, so 57.
Yeah, he's 57. This man is going after an 18-year-old.
Now, and
A man with who is 57 years old, with a career behind him, a storied career as a comedy screenwriter for the BBC. And he's going after an 18-year-old girl. That's how low these people are.
In one, Linehan told his supporters if they saw Brooks to shove her phone up her arse. In another, he claimed she was a deeply disturbed sociopath.
Projection.
Following his arrest, he reportedly told the police he believed
I'm sorry,
his
man,
post
but
did not amount.
50.
Let me finish it up, and then you all can have all your
Go ahead,
commentary.
go ahead.
Okay, let me finish the article, then we can have your commentary. Following his arrest, he reportedly told police he believed his posts did not amount to harassment and were in the public interest as a journalist. Walker told the court that Linehan had relentlessly posted about Brooks, arguing his tweets were oppressive and unacceptable and had crossed the threshold for harassment. The purpose of these posts was clearly not meant to relay events, to express political opinions, to criticize, to help identify perpetrators, or to solve any crime, she said. Nor is it the case that these posts merely present ideas that may shock, disturb, or offend. Rather, they were verbally abusive and vindictive and reflective and reflected Mr. Linehan's deep dislike of Miss Brooks. The trial continues. All right, go ahead. Comment away.
All right. So
Okay.
I've got one, exactly one, and then I'll leave it at that. The man is 57. He's going after, he's he's trying to defend himself against an 18-year-old, and the 18-year-old has a far stronger case. What the fuck is a 57-year-old dude doing in all of this shit that sounds like he's 13? Come on,
man-child.
Graham. Yeah, come on, Graham. It's you think it's icky. And so you're going to use your position, your clout as a screenwriter, as an auteur of a beloved BBC series, blah blah blah, to go after an 18-year-old because it disturbs you that trans people exist. You must be joking. And he's not joking. And the problem is, neither is the media. They're not joking either. They're going along with this stuff. It's like, where is the advocacy for the 18-year-old? I want to see that. Beyond the reportage, I want to see the advocacy for us, for the people that are being attacked. And we don't see it. And that's why we are here. That's why we are here. We don't see advocacy for us in the mainstream media. We don't see it.
All right.
When we start seeing it, well, maybe that'll be a sign of change, but we don't see it.
Okay.
All right.
So under UK law, harassment it's a legal term. It has criteria that are defined by the courts that have to be met. And yeah, TLDR, it requires 2 or more incidents, which establishes a course of conduct that cause the victim alarm or distress, and can be less than that if they're severe. Like, say, if you're calling for violence against the target of your harassment, which is the case. But also there's slander in there, there's impeachment of character, there's defamation. It's all, they're all legal terms, and the bar has been cleared to the fucking moon. Like, these are matters of fact under law, and Glinner fucked himself, which is ironic because no one else will.
Excellent point.
Got one more story before I get to the last story of the night, which is the Buck Angel thing. Google, which is what our thumbnail shows. Google sends parents of LGBTQ kids to conversion therapy websites. Why? This is from LGBTQ Nation, guys. We asked Americans to Google 5 queries looking for resources for LGBTQ people who are struggling. Far-right religious groups dominated the results. That's concerning. I don't think we need to read this whole article. I mean, that's just what we know there from that information. That when you Google seeking help for struggle with LGBTQ issues, you get sent to far-right conversion therapy sites. What do y'all think?
It's not great. You know how Google has made some changes to their algorithm over the years, but it's still predominantly search results are based on the number of links going to a source. It's not the only factor, but it's still a big factor. So it isn't necessarily Google directing people in that direction, but the sheer number of links pointing to those sites that's causing the algorithm to return those results is terrifying.
It is. And any algorithm is going to be it's the classic self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like, well, everybody's looking at this, and if you can, there used to be, way back in the day, there used to be a whole thing about how to, it's how Santorum got to be known as a waxy mix of semen and well, shit. But it's, if you can manipulate the algorithm if you get enough people to do it. And
Google bombing
Google
was a thing.
sends yeah, Google bombing was a thing. And of course Google took steps to avoid that, but there's no, it's like AI is fighting each other at this point in time.
Battle bots.
Yeah, battle bots. It's like, that they send them to conversion therapy websites because we don't, the other side doesn't have its Google foo together. Where people should be looking for this, it's like, we're training people not to rely on other people, but to rely on fucking websites. Why are we doing that? You need to rely, if you're in a situation where someone you care about is having great personal issues, I would suggest that they talk to a therapist or a dear friend or family, or or their pastor. And I'm not going to be a dickhead and say, talk to someone you trust. Don't talk to Chat GPT.
All right.
Don't talk to Google. Don't find you. And what is the jump that I've seen in over the past 3 years is that everybody jumps to, where can I find this resource? Once upon a time, it's, where can I go to get my jeans embroidered? To use Frank Zappa's thing back in the 60s. It's like, you look and try to find a resource that will suit your need. But now all of those sources are becoming artificial rather than being trusted. How do you trust? Why the fuck do people trust a, a crazy shit? I don't know.
All right. So we ran a poll, and to see if anybody knew who Buck Angel was.
Show us your
Yeah.
poll.
So
Wait a minute. Wait a second. Don't show us your actual poll, okay?
Well, the good news is with Buck,
Fellas,
we
fellas,
can't.
where's the poll? Don't show us your actual poll.
So that's do you know who Buck Angel is? Was the question, and the answer it's 55% said yes, 45% said no. So about half the people. But oh, hold on, it's 50-50 now. 50-50 now.
Whoa!
I'm gonna end the poll there, and we're gonna hold on,
now.
and we're gonna look at this because he's not like a big nobody. He's got 4K subscribers, right? I mean,
He is a big nobody, but he
some.
does have 100. He does have that. He does have that.
Yeah.
I'll give him
So
that.
And
Buck Angel was a transgender man porn star.
adult actor.
He is a transgender man, adult actor. porn star. Let's don't
He
look
was. He doesn't,
as
he
much
doesn't-
as
he doesn't
much
work
as I
anymore.
do not like as much as I do not like the man's take on trans issues. I'm gonna give him like, yeah, okay, dude, you're taking your stand here, and I can rip it apart. So go
Yeah,
for
for
it.
sure.
Fuck.
And he's
Okay.
like Glenner, he's also screwing himself over because while he does
Indeed.
have a ridiculous number of followers, and I do mean ridiculous because he's a ridiculous POS, but he's lost
ridiculous, man.
more subscribers than he currently has over his nonsense. He's been trying so hard to suck on the right-wing teat that he's been driving his own community away to try to bring in the MAGA folk. And granted, he
Yep.
does have a lot of MAGA folk now, but his original community is mostly gone.
Now his type of content is a lot of detransitioner coverage, right? He really likes to present that the detransitioners is a big issue, but recently he went after Samantha Lux, who we've covered her before, but Leah, let me pull her up too, so you all can see who I'm talking about if you don't know who that is. I didn't do the
someone who
poll to say,
deserves
do you know who
attention.
Samantha Lux is? Because if you don't, then what have you been doing here? Anyway, so this is Samantha, and she does a lot of pop culture content, especially LGBTQ related stuff. She talks about Snoop's little homophobic thing, trans stuff. Talks about her own transition. She's adorable and always has like a positive kind of attitude. So
yeah, and she has a formal education in media literacy, which is why she does a lot of pop culture stuff. Like today's video that's showing on the top of the screen there. She's talking about people's misunderstanding of this one album cover and whatnot because there's no media literacy anymore.
Yeah, the Sabrina Carpenter album. People just don't think that. I guess they think that being voluntarily submissive or something is a problem. I don't know. People are stupid. If she wants to play that role on her album cover,
she just had her 10th transversary. She made a trans cake. It was cute because she doesn't know how to cook.
Yeah, you could go to. Yeah, I saw that she had the link up for that when I was looking at information on this. So, a couple weeks ago, she dropped this. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm just going to play her like intro thing here, so you can kind of see what she's what happened. We'll pop around.
Run it.
Someone is mad at me because ew.
Did you see that? What that said?
Yeah.
Someone is mad at
Someone is mad because
me because ew. I'm gonna
That's
throw
talking
up
about
right here, right
Angel.
now. I'm gonna vomit on my floor. Sir, nobody's thinking about ew. Oh my god. No, that's not the case. That's not the case, sir.
So that's her vibe, right? And Buck Angel's tweeting about Buck Angel drops the R slur too. Look at that.
Of course
he does.
Yeah, well, you know.
You gotta get those dog whistles.
Buck is a man of a certain age. You know, I think, how old is Buck? That
60s. I forget exactly how old because he's not that fucking important.
60 something. Yeah, exactly. There are a lot of people, and I think Buck's a wee bit younger than me, but there are a lot of people around those times, and Buck is an essentialist, right? It's like, well, you know, you can't do this, but
so Buck Angel,
transsexual. He's like, you know, absolutely insists on the word transsexual. Buck would say he changed his sex, and so in the parlance of trans folk these days, that he would be a true scum. If you don't get the surgery, you're kind of No.
which is hilarious because he himself has not gotten the surgery.
I know.
So
Yeah,
he accused. He
it's
accused.
so complicated. Anyway, let's keep going.
I'm looking for the tweet. It's one of the ones that she pulls up, but he accused her of being on OnlyFans, and I'm not throwing shade to anybody who's on OnlyFans. I'm fucking on OnlyFans. You wanna go look me up? I'm on there. You can look at that.
You
So
mean
no shade, but
you
Samantha
mean
doesn't do OnlyFans.
Bray?
She never.
You
She
mean
never did.
Omega Foxtrot? I don't think we're allowed to say that other thing. Omega Foxtrot, I think would be the thing.
Oh yeah. What are they gonna do? That we
You
don't get
said the
fucking
name of
views
the
anyway.
website.
They're gonna blacklist me.
We're gonna get
I
demonetized.
hustle. I gotta hustle. We all gotta
We're
hustle.
going to
But
get
anyway, Samantha Lux
demonetized from
does-
the monetization we don't have.
Samantha Lux does not have one, and she's never done porn. But apparently,
Adult
Buck Angel,
content.
being an old idiot who doesn't know what he's talking about, he fell for some
Bullshit.
deep fakes.
Mm-hmm.
He found somebody had made deep fakes of Samantha on, and Samantha's not like a child. I mean, she's almost 30. We don't age like normal people. Anyway, but he found some alleged pictures of her. Let me play this part.
Samantha Lux is a hypocrite.
And he uses it to call me a hypocrite and then adds this part.
What's going on, Samantha Lux? So I Googled Samantha Lux, and this came up, which I think is quite interesting to me. So, what is this?
Oh.
And she had bottom surgery almost a decade ago, right? She would have been a
20
minor when she had bottom surgery.
It says YouTuber Samantha Lux. Samantha Lux.
Oh my!
I'm gonna blur. It's all getting blurred
Right,
and edit, but. And she denies that she was in pornography. Okay,
So wait, it
you know you
wasn't
can
blurred?
take your OnlyFans down, and it can never be seen again. So I think that thou dost.
Oh my God. Okay, so sorry, I'm like trying to collect myself because obviously seeing images like
That is very fucked up to do to a trans person.
that of yourself, like honestly, it's traumatizing. First of all, those images are not of me. Those are deep fake images created off of my public Instagram photos, which I mean, even in the comments of his own video, everybody's like, those are
Yeah, at least like his own people. The pictures that you showed of Samantha are edited. Took me a Google search in 5 seconds to find the original ones and the ones that you showed. She has a thing which she had inverted to look like a vagina, by the way.
Huh?
Cut out the part where you
What?
call her an it. That's gross. Buck, that's a deep fake
Well-
photo. These are people in his own audience calling him out.
Mm-hmm. And as an adult performer himself, he should be very well aware that there's an entire industry about making fakes of celebrities, particularly attractive ones, that aren't real.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I did
But
check to
also,
see what I used the search
Well,
prompts that he said he used. I didn't get that. But when I typed in when you add like nudes or something onto it, it does get that. So he went looking to try to find nudes of her.
he went deep, I guess. But it's
but all the
also-
sites the sites that those are from that he showed are from deep fake sites. Like deep fake is in the name of them.
the only thing real about hate is the hate.
Well, she's suing him now, which she should,
Hell
because
yeah.
Right, which she absolutely should. The only thing
When-
real about hate is hate. It's like, what do you do? What is the motivation here? Why are you doing this? That's why I, the serious part of me, whether it's Buck Angel or anybody in this, like, why are you doing this? What is real about this? How does this matter to you?
No, he's just being a hateful asshole. But also,
Indeed, the only thing that's real about the entire engagement is the hatred, and whether it's self-hatred or hatred, that what are you gaining out of this? I guess the gain for Buck is more fame, but
oh yeah,
more fame against your own community.
it's 1,000% grift with Buck. I mean, so many people have done deep dives on him. My favorite is by a channel called Leo and Willie, which if you haven't checked out, you absolutely should, because they're queer, they're engaged, and they're fabulous. But I digress with my random plugs. But also is, it's a secondary issue, but it is important. When he had that guest on, he says, I'm gonna blur all this and edit. So when he dropped those photos on his unsuspecting guest, no warning, just I found this interesting, and drops them, they were not blurred.
just dick in the face, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Some rando penis off the internet in a woman's face. He has no fucking respect for women at all.
yeah, he's a misogynist. That's what he's harassing. He's harassing her about it. When he did porn, which whatever. That doesn't, and so maybe he's not meaning it to be judgmental in that direction to say, oh well, you do it too, but she doesn't, and it doesn't matter if she. It wouldn't matter if she did, but she doesn't. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Hey,
Carly.
Okay, are y'all done talking about Buck Angel yet?
Yeah.
Goddamn
we're
right.
Now, but
Done.
more on him later.
I've had a snootful, so it's like I just these people.
Isn't Buck Angel just absolutely useless?
Yes,
Absolutely.
that's why I asked. Does anybody even know who the fucking asshole is?
Oh, we know who
It's
Buck
like-
Angel is, and
Yeah,
for some people,
we
he's
do.
been a
but-
touchstone. Now he's absolutely decided to go full on transphobe. He's gone full on transphobe, and hey, transphobes are going to transphobe even if they're trans. We all know this. But
Mhm.
in transposition sports tonight, USA Cycling has decided to join the line and preemptively comply. We're going to give the rundown on that and the history, because cycling as a sport has a unique history in this issue. So we're going to kind of take a deep dive into it.
Yeah.
Also, we got
does.
some good stuff. Riley Dennis takes a turf to court in Australia and wins.
Fuck yeah.
Down on that. Good friend of mine, friend of the show, Shauna Atkinson, had a winning weekend at USA Dodgeball Nationals. We're going to give you the lowdown on that, and also Carly's commentary tonight. And part of Carly's commentary tonight was me. I was on the Transnormal podcast. In fact, the episode dropped earlier today, and it was a very good exchange of ideas. And the host, Laura Targonwick and Joe Ellis, I've sent them an invitation to come join us. So we're going to work that out.
Cool.
They will both be contacting you, and I'm going to tell you, these are going to be some very different opinions from the ones here. We're going to be meeting. They're more centrist, if you will, assimilationist, and I know that with some of the people around here, that hits different. It rubs different. And admittedly, me coming in from a more radical background, a more radical brand of activism, perhaps, even though I don't think in the grand scheme of things, I'm all that radical. I just believe in my rights and protections. It was a good discussion, and I think it's something that we need more of. So a little snippet of that's going to be coming in Transposition Sports as well. And also, Kirby gets a lot of FaceTime tonight.
Aw,
Nice.
We love Kirby.
We get a little Kirby.
All right, Ember, how about good news? What you got for us?
Oh, whole bunch of stuff. A.B. Hernandez's mom is stepping up and fighting. Update on the Wyoming sorority situation. Eli Ehrlich takes down Buck, which is fucking phenomenal. Illinois has legal news. Victories in courts in Kenya. Whole bunch of cool stuff.
All right, awesome.
And I have a very, very brief introduction to the new Maine state flag and license plate. And just a little bit of not necessarily trans related, but just general joy. It's like ha ha ha. So
Well, you know, Maine's going to lead.
there we go. That's our motto. I lead.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's jump right into good news. Y'all want to? Let's do it.
Hell yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Was that your Ember impression?
Who? What?
I know that Ember say that. The world's okay.
I know. I was
Indeed.
just like, what just happened? Breaking Schadenfreude. Graham Glinner Linehan arrested at Heathrow Airport. Linehan, once a comedy writer, famously renounced his career to devote himself to calling for violence against women, and, complaining about his lost career, was taken into custody upon arriving in the UK on charges of inciting violence. The aggressive misogynist is currently facing charges for assaulting a young woman in public last year. He shared the social media posts that brought him to the attention of authorities this time with the Daily Mail, including this one. On his personal blog, the angry man who can't understand why physically attacking people is against the law wrote that he was locked in a cell like a criminal just because he committed a crime, and opined that the UK had become, quote, far too accommodating to the demands of violent, entitled, abusive men. Folks might remember Linehan from his infamous unrequited beef against notorious misogynist author Joanne Galbraith, whom he said failed to stand up and defend him, a man, when his decision to torch his career over hatred of women brought social consequences. He said at the time that her failure to stand up for his views made him feel isolated and toxic. As we all know, accommodating the demands of a violent, entitled man is what the UK is known for, according to Linehan. Of this incident, he blogged, quote, I was arrested at an airport like a terrorist. Then, a van was arranged to meet him on the tarmac, so he, quote, didn't have to be perp-walked through the airport like a terrorist. Despite acknowledging his privileged special treatment while proudly taking ownership of his public calls for harassment and violence against innocent people for political reasons, the self-described terrorist still felt the handling of his crimes was unfair to him. Quote, the stress nearly killed me, he blogged, also noting the police took him to the hospital to treat his apparent extreme fragility. He has been released pending court action on the sole bail condition that he refrain from further crimes involving public incitement to violence. Surely a statue will one day be raised to honor his unappreciated, self-inflicted martyrdom. Good news, everyone! Tonight, a giant step in Kenya, a bulwark in Illinois, updates on stories we've been following, and more. Good news starts right now. First, A.B. Hernandez's mom stood up for her daughter and, by extension, all kids in pushing back on bigotry aimed at children by taking on the school board. Despite being publicly broadcast, only this partial clip was available at time of recording. But it's enough.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Nereida Hernandez, and I am the mother of A.B. Hernandez. I'm just here to remind you, Education Code Section 220, no person shall be subjected to discrimination on the basis of disability, gender, gender identity, gender expression, nationality, race or ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation in any program or activity conducted by an educational institution that receives or benefits from state financial assistance. Denying my daughter equal participation or subjecting her to harassment is violation of this law. Mr. Vickers over here, Miss Amanda Vickers, you interviewed with Fox. You actually entertained and welcomed harassment to my child. You are a board member. You have an oath to protect, to support all children, not just the ones that fit your ideas, your beliefs. With that being said, when you allow or tolerate targeted harassment, whether online, in person, or by allowing false narratives to be spread at board meetings, you are only failing morally.
The record indicates there's another 47 seconds of speaking time that has somehow been lost. But we see the general direction of Hernandez's point. This board member actively soliciting hate and abuse against a child that she had been entrusted with the protection of is a betrayal of the entire community and poses a legal liability due to her catastrophic moral failing and short-sighted spitefulness. On a more positive note, Hernandez herself was honored by the Jurupa Valley City Council as well as the state for her achievements over the past year. From KCAL.
A transgender track and field athlete from Jurupa Valley was honored by the City Council today following her controversial state championship win.
Very welcome.
A.B. Hernandez was recognized by the Jurupa City Council and the State Senate. Her state championship win became a focal point in the ongoing debate about transgender girls in sports, and the Trump administration sued California's Department of Education for allowing trans girls to compete in women's sports. But today, city leaders wanted to focus on Hernandez's achievements.
Hernandez deserves a lot more praise than she gets, not just for dealing with endless hate from so-called adults with more maturity and grace than they possess, but also for bringing a spotlight to the ongoing struggle for equality in multiple aspects of girls' sports. The same people who tried to keep colored girls out, citing concerns about fairness and safety. The same people who tried to keep gay girls out, citing concerns about fairness and safety, are the same people today picking on this girl, citing concerns about fairness and safety. These are the same people blocking funding for girls' sports, blocking fairness. These are the same people blocking oversight of coaches and investigations into CSA scandals, blocking safety. Hernandez shows not only that minority girls belong, but can excel, and that the overgrown children screaming about how they don't like diversity are exposed not just as bigots, but utter hypocrites. Like a dang champion. Illinois has hooked up the first hotline for LGBT people to find legal assistance with a phone call. From MSN. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker announced a landmark free hotline for LGBTQ+ people in the state, offered in both English and Spanish. The first of its kind service launched last week and will provide legal advice regarding housing, safety, healthcare access, including gender-affirming care, discrimination, identity documents, and more. Pritzker announced the initiative, called Illinois Pride Connect, at an August 21st event with the Chicago Legal Council for Health Justice, which will run the hotline. Quote, for us to be able to go on offensive and not be on defense is what I love about this state, he said. Building upon the state's transgender and gender diverse wellness and equity project that we launched at the beginning of 2024, we will be the only state in the entire United States that provides free legal advice to protect the LGBTQ community, he said. Together, we are fighting ignorance with information. We're fighting cruelty with compassion. Courts in Kenya aren't playing when it comes to civil rights. From LGBTQ Nation. Transgender people in Kenya just won a major court victory. A trans woman arrested for impersonation sued, and a judge ordered Parliament to pass a law protecting trans rights. A trans woman's court victory in Kenya could have wide-ranging implications for trans rights in the East African nation after a judge agreed she suffered inhuman and degrading treatment at the hands of government authorities and directed Parliament to enact provisions and recognition in law for trans Kenyans. The plaintiff, Sheyes Chepkoskal, was detained in 2019 and charged with impersonation, despite the fact that she had held official documents, including a birth certificate and passport with female sex markers, while living in another country where she had also competed in women's athletics. Chepkoskal was arrested by Kenyan police while visiting a teaching hospital, Q News reports. He was remanded to a women's facility, strip-searched, and ordered by a court to undergo gender determination, which included a genital examination, hormone testing, blood sampling, and radiological testing. Chepkoskal challenged her detention and the non-consensual medical examinations in court, arguing they were unconstitutional, violated her inherent dignity, and highlighted a legislative gap in the treatment of transgender persons in custody in Kenya. Other countries and sporting bodies take note. Compelling non-consensual examinations of this sort are a violation to dignity, regardless of a person's gender status. Justice R. Nyakundi of the Eldoret High Court agreed that Chepkoskal's right to dignity, privacy, and freedom from inhuman and degrading treatment had been violated, according to a Kenyan intersex, transgender, and gender nonconforming rights group. She was awarded the equivalent of about $8,000 US. But the judge did not stop there. He went a step further, directing the Kenyan government to initiate legislation in Parliament addressing the rights of transgender Kenyans, either with new protections or by amending current legislation on the rights of intersex people currently moving through Parliament. Quote, this is the first time a Kenyan court has explicitly ordered the state to create legislation on transgender rights, and the first on the African continent. If implemented, it could address decades of legal invisibility and discrimination faced by transgender persons by establishing clear legal recognition of gender identity, protections against discrimination in employment, housing, healthcare, and education, and access to public services without bias or harassment. Kenya has a fraught history with LGBTQ+ rights, with colonial-era penalties for same-sex behavior still in effect and discriminatory legislation modeled on Uganda's notorious Anti-Homosexuality Act, which allows for the death penalty for homosexuality introduced in Parliament. Same-sex relations remain criminalized with, quote, carnal knowledge against the order of nature and gross indecency, punishable by up to 14 years in prison. Transgender people in Kenya face widespread stigma, discrimination, and violence. Current law bars trans Kenyans from legally changing their gender identity from the one assigned at birth. While LGBTQ+ people have found relief in the courts, homophobia pervades Kenyan society and the legislature. In 2023, Kenya's Supreme Court affirmed a decision granting an LGBTQ+ rights group official status and legal recognition as a non-governmental organization. That decision ignited protests in the country's second-largest city, led by clerics and homophobic politicians. While Kenya is far from ideal for many GSM community members, it's always a big plus to see progress and courts taking action to order legislative bodies to do their actual job is something the whole world could do with more of. Following up on the Wyoming sorority story, a judge has tossed out a case against the inclusive organization again. Yes, we've heard this story before, but the Bigot Brigade repeated their efforts and hoped for different results. From LGBTQ Nation, judge sides with trans-inclusive sorority. They can admit trans women if they want. A federal judge has sided with a sorority that inducted a transgender sister after several other members sued over the definition of the word woman. Quote, having considered the issues presented, again, we find that the majority of the claims must be dismissed on the grounds that this court still may not interfere with the sorority's contractually valid interpretation of its own bylaws. U.S. District Court Judge Alan B. Johnson, a Ronald Reagan appointee, wrote in his ruling. The case started in 2023 when 6 sisters at the University of Wyoming chapter of Kappa Kappa Gamma sued their sorority for inducting a transgender woman. The cis women argued that the sorority breached its contract with them by allowing the trans woman to join, citing the part of the bylaws that refer to members as woman and women, saying that trans women aren't women, somehow, for some reason. The complaint itself was full of invective for their transgender sister, including her height and weight, accusing her of having an angry glare, and misgendering her with he/him pronouns throughout. It only took Judge Johnson a couple of months to throw out their lawsuit, scolding the plaintiffs for including so many personal insults towards the trans woman that they barely had any room left for their legal claims against the defendants. This would have been the end of it, but the cisgender sisters filed another lawsuit this year, citing the new presidential administration's opposition to transgender rights and claiming that the sorority allowing a trans woman to join is, quote, inconsistent with its reliance on the exemptions for single-sex organizations under Title IX. Title IX is the federal law that bans discrimination on the basis of sex in education. The Biden administration interpreted this as a ban on anti-LGBTQ plus discrimination, since it's impossible to discriminate against a sexual orientation or gender identity without taking sex into account. Conservatives, though, argue that this law requires anti-trans discrimination since it defines a group of people based on sex, not gender. But the judge rejected their arguments again, noting that Kappa Kappa Gamma's bylaws don't define the words woman or women to be exclusively referring to cisgender women. He even noted that the sorority, quote, published and distributed multiple texts showing that its interpretation of those words is trans-inclusive, so the plaintiffs can't claim that their contract with the sorority was understood to mean that trans women would be excluded. The trans sister herself graduated from the university earlier this year and said that she's leaving the state. She told Wyoming Public Radio that the publicity that the case attracted led to death threats against her. Quote, every day I woke up feeling like, oh, why does my mouth taste bad? And then realizing like, oh, my heart is racing and my mouth tastes like cotton. Oh, I'm having a panic attack, she said. Like I'm waking up with a panic attack, or some nights just having total insomnia. I think it has to do with just the grace of God helping me get through those finals, and being so like, I have to pass. Like, I can't let these guys win by having me fail academically. I just had to push, push, push to succeed, and somehow I managed to get through it. But, she stressed, she doesn't regret joining. Quote, I still think that there's immense value in Greek life, especially at the University of Wyoming. I joined for a reason. There's a sisterhood in sororities that you can't really find anywhere else in 21st century young adult life anymore, she said. And I would absolutely say people should continue, if they want that. We reached out to the sister, who, as noted, is no longer even a student at the university, for comment on previous events in this story, and she expressed at that time that she's trying to step out of the spotlight in order to have as normal a life as she can, given the state of everything. As a person who has received death threats and follow through on them, I completely understand. As for the sorority, good for them, and good for all of us that they've successfully stood their ground, stood up for their values, and let the haters expose themselves as having more spite than sense. Again. All of that we love to see. Eli, soon to be a Dr. Ehrlich, is back yet again, this time with an article in the summer issue of Gay and Lesbian Review. Ehrlich has been busy this year as, besides finishing a doctoral program, expanding modeling horizons, fighting for equal rights in sports, and publishing a book on trans history, among other things, she's also been exploring social and psychological conundrums, like why some famous trans folks fight against their own rights. Here's an excerpt from the article. Making sense of the trans right. Transgender people are typically associated with left-wing politics, but a vocal few have become breakout celebrities among the political right. Buck Angel, one of these new faces on the right-wing gender discourse, has acquired increasing attention for his incendiary advocacy against other trans people. Angel has gained fame as a pornography star and left-wing activist. He's perhaps the last person one would expect to align himself with white supremacists and Trump-supporting Republicans. His vocal calls to ban transgender healthcare, criminalize trans women from using women's rooms, deport undocumented migrants, jail student protesters, and end diversity initiatives may be shocking in the context of his trans identity. Nevertheless, Angel's narrative charts an increasingly common path into far-right circles. I interviewed more than 110 transgender people with far-right views for my forthcoming book, Belonging Through Exclusion, Understanding the Transgender Far Right, which examines the motivations behind their beliefs and what actions could prevent others from joining them. I attempted to avoid writing about celebrities, but Angel stood out. While I worked on the book, Angel released a 15-minute-long video claiming I was a pedophilic child groomer and calling for my arrest because I had suggested that people with access to hormone therapy share medications with those in states where trans healthcare is banned. Quote, "We got to start really pushing back on these people," he told his audience. "They're not healthy for our community. They're not healthy for our youth." There is limited information on the demographics of transgender members of right-wing groups, but there are a few notable trends. The more than 110 subjects I interviewed for Belonging Through Exclusion were overwhelmingly white and older than the average trans population. A majority were trans women, and only 2 were non-binary. They were less religious than the general population and more evenly distributed throughout the US than expected. As for the general political beliefs of the LGBTQ+ community, there is similarly insufficient data. The 2015 U.S. Transgender Survey conducted by the National Center for Transgender Equality found that only 2% of trans people were Republican. By 2022, a large Washington Post Kaiser Family Foundation poll found that the number had risen to 10%, suggesting that Angel is part of an ongoing trend. How did the trans community get here? An atmosphere of dissatisfaction looms over the transgender public as liberal politicians continuously fail to improve their situations. Many trans people feel abandoned by and alienated from mainstream liberal politics. Both UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and center-left Labor Party and U.S. Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris avoided the word transgender on the campaign trail despite ongoing conservative anti-trans rhetoric and legislative attacks. Instead of turning to the left, as most trans people do, those like Angel viewed right-wing groups as the only alternative. That's right, turn into the oppression. Side with the people who are causing the problems you're mad about. Good plan. Very smart. They are part of what political theorists call the multicultural far right, a growing cohort of minoritized people selectively incorporated into a nationalist framework. Right-wing leaders are aware of the West's demographic changes and know they must adapt to survive. Part of their plan is deporting undesirables and making Western nations less hospitable. Another is building a more diverse coalition that incorporates disaffected members of marginalized groups traditionally associated with liberalism. Angel doesn't represent all right-wing trans people, but his ideological transformation is in line with common tendencies in transgender far-right politicization. We may better understand the basic trajectory of the transgender right by following Angel's self-reported experiences of exclusion, identification, and belonging. Angel's political journey took decades. Typically, the first step on this path is a feeling of social exclusion, such as shunning or shaming from those on the left. Most right-wing trans people were not born into a far-right milieu, but were deeply influenced by the harsh policing they experienced in left-wing spaces. As Angel puts it, quote, "People go where their voice is being heard." As countless restorative justice and abolitionist thinkers have argued, ostracizing dissenters from political communities simply pushes them into new spaces where they can continue their harmful behaviors. Angel's contentious relationship with the trans community, particularly trans women, goes back many years. He infamously outed Matrix director Lana Wachowski as transgender in a 2006 Rolling Stone interview after his girlfriend left him for her. In 2013, Angel launched a surgery fundraising website that The Advocate described as a pyramid scheme. The most prominent critics of the website, including author Emi Koyama and journalist Parker Malloy, were trans women. He went on to several other industries, including cannabis and sex oils. His reputation never recovered. In the late 2010s, like many members of the transgender right, Angel began to justify his gender identity using biology. He believes gender dysphoria, the distress over the disparity between one's internal sense of gender and sex, is a rare disease that legitimizes his identity, while other trans people who don't experience dysphoria or don't require medical interventions are not truly transgender. This is called transmedicalism and is generally received negatively within the trans community. The belief in transmedicalism typically excludes non-binary people and trans youth who are not deemed worthy or deserving of health care or self-identification. Angel's tone drastically changed after influential trans woman, video essayist, and cultural critic Natalie Wynn, known by her online handle ContraPoints, briefly featured him as a voice actor in a 2019 video on the philosophy of Western aesthetics. Angel's association with transmedicalism led to immediate, overwhelming public shaming, shunning, and disavowal. This video marked one of Angel's last collaborations with a left-wing creator. Wynn did not defend Angel, and instead denounced his beliefs. Quote, "Some people have taken my association with Angel as evidence that I am secretly a transmedicalist. I want to let you all know, first of all, that I am not a transmedicalist. I have never been a transmedicalist, and I will never be a transmedicalist," said Wynn, mocking the confessional McCarthyite tactics used within the trans community to root out perceived traitors. Angel felt the community unfairly rejected his opinion during the controversy. Quote, some people within the non-binary communities react in anger to anything they feel like is a threat, he complained to Newsweek. Quote, they do not have dialogue. They use scare tactics. They create a mob mentality, in some ways, very fascist in thought. They do not like it if you have a different opinion and will try to shut down the conversation. These feelings of exclusion only intensified as he lashed out against the trans women who refused to defend him. Misogyny can be a powerful tool of mobilization. Angel's conflict with trans women appears to be a central motivation for his far right-wing beliefs. Some right-wing ideologues fixate on Jews, some on migrants, others on trans women, among countless other categories. There must be an out-group for the in-group to exist. Most public attacks against trans people are specifically aimed at trans women, who are easy and fashionable targets. Trans activist author Julia Serrano named this phenomenon transmisogyny. In interviews, right-wing trans men and women alike reiterated these ideas, often repeating the conspiracy theory that a secret cabal of trans women controls the transgender movement. Angel adopted transmisogynist rhetoric to comprehend, justify, and mediate his exclusion from trans spaces. Angel began expressing related concerns about the increasing number of trans people in the early 2020s. This crescendoed when he collaborated with the trans man-led anti-trans group called Gender Dysphoria Alliance Canada on its notorious Trans Men Fight Back statement in 2021. The conspiracy-laden declaration claimed a group of queer trans women are coercing people into trans identity for sexual pleasure and pharmaceutical company profits. Quote, children are being taught a false narrative in the media and in public schools, which is confusing them, in order to protect the egos, fantasies, and capitalist desires of trans women, they wrote. Their account of trans politics, predictably, was not well received, and the 5 white, right-wing trans men quickly took down the statement. In a period of a few years, Angel went from being an influential progressive to one of the world's most vocal right-wing transgender celebrities. His rhetoric supports the political right's divide-and-conquer strategy through the application of respectability politics, misogyny, and exclusion. In return, he has received funding, gained social influence, and even become an outspoken ambassador for the Log Cabin Republicans. These key events provide ample grounding to understand why he began to align himself with right-wing ideals. But this was only the first part of his political transformation. The full article is available at the website glreview.org, and Ehrlich's new book is expected out early next year. If you enjoy content like this, make sure to subscribe. Transpositions Weekly is the first and only weekly trans news show in the universe, and we need your support to keep the show going. Contribute at patreon.com/thetranspositions. Spread the word on social media to let people know we're here, and tell us what stories matter to you by joining the community on Discord. Discord, of course, is where the memes live, and our meme of the week was posted by yours truly. And if you find yourself with an unexpectedly vast wellspring of joy at finally being able to actually live in your own life, join us. Also, if you have good news concerning trans people you'd like to see reported on, you can tell us about that in the Discord as well. For the Transpositions, I've been Ember Balrad.
another 75 years of queer and trans American history, picking it up in the 1940s. 1940 ushers in the Lavender Scare, which is the persecution of LGBTQ plus people working for the government. In 1948, scientist Alfred Kinsey publishes the Kinsey Report, citing that 37% of men had taken part in homosexual activities at least once. 1950, the Mattachine Society is founded in LA, which would become one of the primary voices in favor of the burgeoning homophile movement. In 52, Christine Jorgensen transitions, making the paper as the first American to become famous for her sexual reassignment surgery. 55, the first lesbian rights organization, the Daughters of Bilitis, is established by a Filipina woman named Rose Bamberger, her life partner, and 2 other couples. In 59, Cooper Donuts, a 24-hour LGBTQ plus cafe in LA's Skid Row, is the site of a police raid. 5 individuals were held and about to be arrested when they collectively rose up, inspiring an onlooking crowd to fight back against the LAPD and win. In 1961, Illinois becomes the first state to decriminalize sodomy, agreeing that the government shouldn't dictate what happens between consenting adults in private. 1964, the first documented gay rights protest was held in New York City to protest discrimination against homosexuals in the military. 66, Compton's cafeteria riot. Trans women and drag queens fight off police wrongly arresting them in San Francisco's Tenderloin district. Also in 66, sit-ins were staged as a pioneering protest model for how to deal with businesses like Julius Barr, who refused the business of gay customers. Sometime in the mid to late 60s, the term transgender is invented, but won't be popularized until the 90s. 1969, Stonewall. 1970 brought us the Christopher Street Liberation Day Festival on the anniversary of Stonewall. This was preceded by a Gay Pride Week. This event started popularizing the word pride in association with our community. 78, Harvey Milk is elected to San Francisco's Board of Supervisors, fighting for radical change in the short 11 months before his assassination. Also in 78, Gilbert Baker designs the first rainbow flag. 1981, AIDS starts spreading across the world, with the CDC publishing the first report on this odd disease that was initially identified as a bizarre lung infection. 1987 sees the formation of ACT UP, a powerful New York City organization that really helped improve the social, political, and medicinal impacts of the AIDS crisis. In 1993, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was enacted, forcibly closeting same-sex attracted military members. This was directly tied to a rise in hate crimes nationwide. By 1995, AIDS had decimated the community. 10% of gay men from 25 to 44 years old had passed away. 1996, the Republican majority Congress passes DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Act, clearly defining federal marriage rights as between one man and one woman. 1998, President Clinton issues an executive order prohibiting workplace discrimination for LGBTQ plus federal employees, making the federal government the world's largest employer with a non-discrimination policy, unless you were in the military. 1999 sees the very first Transgender Day of Remembrance. In 2003, America finally saw the federal decriminalization of same-sex relations. 2003. Thank you, Lawrence v. Texas. In 2004, 2 of the founding members of the Daughters of Bilitis, yeah, remember that lesbian newspaper from 50 years ago? Anyway, 2 of the founding members become the very first same-sex couple to get married in the state of California. 2009, RuPaul's Drag Race premieres on TV. 2011 sees the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, ending 17 years of discrimination. In 2012, the FDA approves Truvada, making PrEP commercially available and substantially cutting down on the transmission of HIV/AIDS. 2013, Edie Windsor sues the U.S. government and wins to be recognized as her late wife's legal spouse for inheritance tax purposes. The Supreme Court does this by striking down the Defense of Marriage Act's one man, one woman clause, laying the groundwork for the legalization of gay marriage federally. 2015, same-sex marriage is legalized when the Supreme Court strikes down marriage bans in Obergefell v. Hodges. The work is far from over. In the last 10 years, LGBTQ plus protections have been steadily rolled back, especially for transgender folks. Remember that people turn toward conservatism in times of economic hardship, which is happening right now. Progress has no finish line. History has no endpoint. Keep marching. I love you. I'll see you soon.
USA Cycling is the latest to throw trans women out of women's sports. We'll look at the new regulations and the history of cycling that led us to where we are now. Australia shows just because speech is free doesn't mean it needs to be worthless. we celebrate a friend of the show who won big over the weekend, and Carly's commentary on who gets to talk right over us, everybody. Hello again, everybody. This is Transposition Sports. I'm Carly Chardonnay Webb. USA Cycling announced Tuesday that transgender women are banned from women's competition at all levels of the sport in the United States. A reversal from previous policy, which allowed trans women to compete alongside cisgender women in masters, sub-elite, and age group categories. The policy will take effect September 15th, and women's events after that point will be limited to, quote, individuals who meet the following definition of female. Female means a person belonging at conception to the sex that produces large reproductive cells. The new regulations would create a, quote, open category for any individual, irrespective of the sex they were assigned at birth. A transgender woman can compete in the open category or a non-binary category if it's offered at a sanctioned USA Cycling event. Now, anti-trans voices roundly supported the move. XXXY CEO and noted professional transphobe Jennifer Say said, quote, this is a huge win. This governing body has allowed more men on the podium than any other sport governing body. Tiffany Thomas, longtime USA Cycling road racer, said, quote, the decision marginalizes a community that's already facing this systemic discrimination and a devastating rollback of basic human rights. Cycling has long been an outlet and source of joy for many trans people, and now that door is being closed. This is a huge loss. The Eastern Collegiate Cycling Conference, which has publicly stood against efforts to roll back trans inclusion, reaffirmed their stance in a statement they made immediately after the USA Cycling policy was revealed. Quote, the ECCC is saddened and disappointed by the USA Cycling's adoption of the USOPC's policy regarding trans athletes. Our leadership is exploring all options on how to respond, but for now, let us remind you that we love all our athletes, trans folk included, and that this is bad policy. Cycling's been at the center of a great deal of the discussion for much of the century so far, and this policy comes in the latest of what's been a long chain of events. The roots of cycling struggling with this issue in some ways comes from one of the first transgender athletes post the Stockholm Declaration to make a national team, Catherine Dumaresque, Canadian mountain biker. In 2006, she won a Canadian national title. The person who finished second, she was rather transphobic about it. Another Canadian, road cyclist Christine Worley, took her complaints against the IOC, the Union Cycliste Internationale, and Canada Cycling all the way to the Human Rights Tribunal in Ontario in 2015. She alleged that the IOC's anti-doping and gender verification policies are discriminatory. Worley charged that these policies have damaged her health and her ability to continue to take part in competitive cycling. Worley won her case in 2017, and the UCI, Canada Cycling, and the IOC pledged to revamp a number of their policies surrounding the issue. Then came a different Canadian a year later. Veronica Ivy, master level track cyclist. In 2018, she won her first UCI World Masters title and was met with some backlash. In 20
Technical difficulties here. I don't know. It wouldn't the video wouldn't download, so I was trying to play it from the
2019, she made another run towards a championship and became.
I don't think it's going to be able to play. I don't know what's going on. It's says it's got 3 hours left to download, so I don't think we're getting to it tonight. Unless Carly wants to come back on and play it from her end. But I think she dipped already. No. Steph said she had something to go over, so we'll pull her on up. Ember's still here too, I believe. Am I by myself?
No. No, you're not. Wow, that's a bummer. Because
Yeah. Well, I don't
Yeah.
know what I couldn't get it. Can you get it to download? She dropped it in the Discord, but it's like
I can try.
it's taking hours to download. If you want to pick it up where this one left off, it's at 4.5 minutes.
I can try it.
Let's see.
Stand by, folks, and
Yeah.
maybe we can make this happen. I'm not really sure, but let me see.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Let's see. The best you can.
Mhm.
Thank you for your patience, folks. Let me see. Where are we at? I don't know. It would take
in the Discord.
so many hours to download. My goodness. Okay.
Is yours saying that too? I wonder why it's taking so long to download.
Hang on. All
Mine
right,
says
so,
they
wait a second. Wait a second.
2
Wait a
hours
second.
left.
Where were we at?
4.5 minutes.
Okay. All right. Hang on. Hold the phone.
I'm gonna hide Ember since doesn't appear to be here.
Hold the phone. By the way, but while we're in this unexpected interlude, let me just share very, very briefly my little funny thing. So the great state of Maine, we have a new flag. We have a new state flag. It's a star above a pine tree, and it's very, very cool. And in recognition of that, we now have new license plates, and the license plates have that emblem on them, and it's quite cool. Let me see. Share screen. Window. It's darn. I think I've closed that window. Anyway, the tippy top of the pine tree looks like a thing going like this, and it's really kind of funny because that's kind of the way I feel. It's kind of a stupid joke, but I think I can actually do the Carly thing. Let me see if I can share this screen. We'll share that. And we'll keep rolling because I'm picking it up at the Veronica Ivy thing, and let me know if let us know if this is working for y'all.
Veronica Ivy, master level track cyclist. In 2018, she won her first UCI World Masters title and was met with some backlash. In 2019, she made another run towards a championship and became a full-blown global controversy, as well as becoming reluctantly the face of the issue.
The people who oppose my existence still want to think of me as male. They use the language of that I'm a man. And so there's this stereotype that men are always stronger than women. And so if you think of trans women as men, then you think there's an unfair advantage.
Sport as a human right, just explain what that means for you.
We care about the Olympics. We care about our favorite football club. We care about the Rugby World Cup. We care about sport. It is central to society. So if you want to say, well, I believe you're a woman for all of society except this massive central part that is sport, then that's not fair.
In 2020, Emily Bridges, once an up-and-coming prospect in Britain, came out as trans and was looking to return to compete as a woman in 2021. Now, by 2022, she had a UCI competitions license and was preparing to compete in the National Omnium Championships, a key qualifier for Team GB with the Commonwealth Games to come a couple months later. The UCI and British Cycling, who both previously affirmed her competition licenses, took them away a week before the competition at the urging of a group of competitive cyclists, including former world and Olympic champions, working alongside some of the biggest anti-trans voices in Britain.
Women have a protected category. They have that category so that we have opportunities and so that we can excel in sport. If you take that away and you allow male bodies into that category, you will destroy women's sport.
Bridges wasn't allowed to compete, and later that year, the focus shifted across the Atlantic.
Austin Killips, a 26-year-old hustler from Chicago. She has had a sensational year.
Austin Killips was riding a wave of momentum that fall. A few weeks before the USA Cycling Cyclocross Nationals, she won her first UCI World Cup event. She had been improving in both cyclocross and road cycling and entered the National Cyclocross Championship Women's Elite race as a dark horse. She ended up third, gaining a podium spot, and she wasn't done. The next year, Killips went on the road and won the 5-day Tour of Gila in New Mexico, a lower-level professional UCI-sanctioned event. However, that win opened the doors to the UCI's ban on trans women in elite competition 1 month later, and the anti-trans lobby ate it up like a dove bar.
We haven't had too many situations here in the UK. It's much worse in America. At the moment in American cycling, there's 50 transgender women. So that's trans-identifying males that are in elite women's sport.
The ban took away Killips' chance to compete further. It also erased the Olympic hopes for Bridges and for American BMX hopeful Chelsea Wolfe, who was the first alternate in BMX for the Tokyo Olympics in 2021 and was in the scrum to make Team USA for Paris in 2024.
I woke up to a text message from a close friend of mine saying that the UCI had just enacted their ban, and my entire world just got ripped out from under me.
Can we talk about what was the UCI ban that they enacted?
So they cleverly tried to disguise it as not a flat out ban by saying that you have to have started undergoing hormonal replacement therapy prior to the age of 12, which you'll also notice that is something that not only is it illegal in most places, it's also not advised by most doctors. It's not necessary to do. So it's something that I don't think anyone in the world could possibly meet that criteria, just based on a health and legal standpoint. I don't think there's anyone that meets that criteria, but they confuse the matter. So nobody can say oh, it's a flat out ban, because they can say well, somebody could theoretically in a made up universe meet this ban, even though they couldn't.
With the stroke of my pen on day one, we're going to stop the transgender lunacy.
The election of Donald Trump as President of the United States ushered in a massive rollback in trans rights, including the February 5th executive order calling for a total ban on transgender girls and women in girls and women's sports. The United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee stated that they will comply with the executive order in a statement they made in June and urged all governing bodies under their aegis to follow suit. A week later, at the USA Cycling Masters and Junior Road Championships in Milwaukee, Kate Phillips won the women's 55 to 59 road race. Now, Phillips is a trans woman, and the fact that she won drew some people's ire. And it also powered what you're seeing now. Another sport closed off, at least for now. When we come back to Transposition Sports, a target of anti-trans nonsense won their day in court. A friend of the show had a championship weekend. We'll give you all the details and Carly's commentary on how trans voices should matter, even when a lot of other people say they shouldn't. This is Transposition Sports. I'm Carly Chardonnay-Webb. Stay with us.
meow, yeah, 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 meow, yeah. Wait a minute, Kitty's gonna get it. 4 paws in when I'm standing on business. I'm the keep kitten, all the rhinos spitting. This show can handle all the cuteness that I'm getting. I'm not a beginner, no, I'm a winner. Hurry up, Carly, go get me my dinner. If Carly can spit rhymes, so can I. I'm Kirby the Cat. We'll be back. I interrupt transposition sports because I'm cute, and I can't. And for this message from the angry gay grandpa. You don't pay me enough for this, Carly.
So maybe I'll start a little bit softer.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine.
Dad?
Before you say anything, I just want to apologize for what I said this morning. I've been doing a lot of thinking. If you want to change your name, if you want to wear a dress.
It's a skirt, Dad.
Skirt? I don't know the kind of support you need, but let's get you some for all this transgender stuff.
Wait. Are you serious? Dad, what is this?
Oh, this is me supporting you. This is me saying I love you. This is me not losing you.
I love you, Dad.
Love you. Holly.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Welcome back to Transposition Sports. I'm Carly Chardonnay Webb. How about a trans joy update? American YouTube influencer turned Australian soccer player Riley Dennis won a vilification case in a New South Wales, Australia local court last week. The case was against known anti-trans campaigner and TERF, Corali Smith. The magistrate decided that Ms. Smith unlawfully vilified Ms. Dennis through a year-long series of social media posts that were, quote, capable of inciting serious contempt and could, quote, severely ridicule Ms. Dennis. In 2023, Smith launched a social media campaign to block transgender players from a women's soccer league in New South Wales. Her target was 32-year-old Riley Dennis, who at the time played with a semi-professional team in New South Wales' League One. Ms. Dennis now plays with the Flying Bats, an LGBTQI community team. If that name sounds familiar, it just might. Dennis, for a long time, was a YouTube influencer, moved to Australia to be with the person who she's now engaged to and married to 5 years ago. And since then, Dennis has been just living her life, playing some sports, having a good time, but still drawing the ire of TERFs. To the court in New South Wales, good on you. And congratulations to a dear friend and friend of the show, Shauna Atkinson, my former colleague on the Gridiron Girls. Over the weekend, that dodgeball demon was at it again. She was part of a group called Team Sinister, and at USA Dodgeball National Championships in New Orleans, they won the national championship in their classification. Now, Atkinson's been a dodgeball star since we were on a podcast together, in addition to being a diehard Cleveland Browns fan. Shauna, congratulations. And oh, my pick for the week, Cleveland Browns 23, Cincinnati Bengals 20 on the opening Sunday of the NFL season. See, even a Steeler can go for the Browns. Finally tonight, between Malcolm Gladwell saying he was cowed into supporting trans women's sports and Riley Gaines, who went in the New York Times and last week got another profile, said the quiet part out loud, saying that she hopes to make all of, quote, gender ideology crumble with what she's doing and using sports to do it. And she's also said she wants to run for office, which means at the very least she will be the next Marjorie Taylor Greene. And of course, there's the USA Cycling decision, yet another decision on trans people, and no trans people were even consulted at all in making it, which makes me wonder, once again, why do so many people go out and talk about trans people, but no one's talking to us? That's all the more reason why it's incumbent for those of us in the community to talk to each other, not just about this issue, but a lot of issues. Even if we disagree, even if we don't see it the same way, we need to have the conversations because no one else is. And we need to be speaking out because it seems like no one else wants to. Influencers are important. Support them if you like them. News sources like Transpositions News, Transposition Sports, please, if you like what you're seeing week to week, support us so we can keep giving more of it. And it may mean that sometimes we have to sit down with each other, look each other in the eye, once in a while get on each other's nerves, snap some edges, get in a little conflict, but realize that we have common ground, common aims. We want to stay alive and we want to thrive, even in these hard times. Last week, I practiced what I preached a little bit. I went on the Transnormal podcast. Now, I know Laura Targonwick. I know Joe Ellis. We disagree. They're the host of Transnormal. They say it's a centrist view of trans rights. And I'm not a big fan of centrism, I'll admit. I have beliefs. I'll stand on them. But I came in their forum, and what I got was respect, and it was mutual, and we actually talked about issues in sports. Their views and my views run contra in many ways. But conflict is good because conflict can help us grow. Here's a little piece of it.
Trans women aren't the same as women. That's why they're called
No, I didn't say
women.
they're the same. I didn't say they're the same as cis women. What I'm saying is what the transphobes are trying to sell is transgender women are not women and cisgender women stink at sport.
Yeah, but hold
I'm
on
not
a
saying
second.
the two are the same. No two people are the same, Joe.
But hold on,
No
you're
two
saying
people
that that's what they're saying as if that's wrong. But that is correct. Transgender
No, it's
women are
not.
not women.
Yes, we are. Why would
we're not?
then
Then hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Yes, we
hold on.
are. We're a
hold on a
different
second.
kind.
Hold on a second.
We're
If that's
a
the
different-
case, then why are we called trans women and why are we born as men?
Because trans is a descriptor, just like black women, white women. Yeah, I know certain white women don't like being called white women. I understand that, but tall women, short women, athletic women, offensive lineman women, linebacker women. To me, it's a descriptor. It's a descriptor.
But only trans women. Women are born a certain way to where we have to have certain medical things done in order to come to some sort of parity with all other women. That's not quite the same as saying someone is black and a white woman. That's not quite the same as saying a trans woman is like a woman in the sense that, well, no, because we had to do very specific things to even get our hormone levels close to the same and to bring us to that parity of fairness.
So in short, because of that, you're willing to allow yourself to be treated less than?
It's not less, right?
I mean, to me, that's the way it cuts. If that's the case,
but what about all the other women in the team that aren't born as men? Doesn't it treat them differently by saying you have to play with these trans women?
Well, here's the thing. If that is the case, if that is the case, what are the differences you want to point out? And within those differences, what kind of boundaries do you want to set? Then who is?
Yeah.
Joe? Because the fact of the matter is, we can take this to an ugly nth degree that honestly I think does a disservice to all of us. Trans women, cis women,
Well, if you're
women
born
who
as a
are,
woman,
women who
then
are affluent, women who are not. Because
you're not born with money or not with money. You're born as a woman
I can
or not.
tell you this: if I was born a cisgender woman, there'd be certain people in our society who would still take away my womanhood because of my melanin content.
Well, that could be entirely
to
true.
me. It's
but
all.
that's
To
not,
me, it's all. That
but
could be true. Come on, Joe.
What I'm saying is, though, there might always be someone who wants to minimize you. But what I'm getting at here is
the point is that I'm not.
Key difference.
If other people want to minimize me, that's their deal. I am not going to minimize myself, and I'm not going to allow people to minimize my 37 cisgender teammates in the same way. I'm not going to allow them to do that. And that's what a lot of these that's what the Riley Gaines and the ADFs of the world are looking to do with this argument. And I'm not going to stand for that. Not at all. Because the thing is, though, they're not busting on me. I'm 54 years old and I'm still balling. I'm blessed to still be balling out. Yes, I am.
Oh my God.
I'm 54 years old and blessed to be balling out. But the thing is, it's not so much what they're saying about me. It's what they're saying about my teammates, saying that they're less than, and I can't abide by that.
Yeah. So
I refuse to abide by that. Yeah. So again, I refuse to the idea that transgender women are not women and cisgender women are lousy at sport, because we both know it's false. But that's what they're selling people, and unfortunately, people are buying it, and that's what bothers me.
So a couple points
people are buying it.
A couple points I want to grant you, which is, first of all, that women's sports are broadly disrespected, and
that's wrong.
Yeah, and it's absolutely wrong. And women who have devoted,
but I don't think that's related to the transgender issue.
No.
Oh, heck yeah, it is.
At the elite levels, women who are competing, let's say in the WNBA, top line tennis, whatever it is, these are women who have devoted their lives, their evenings, their childhoods to the development of a skill set that has put them at an elite level. They've sacrificed a lot of things to perform to the best of their abilities so that they can reach the top to an elite level in their sport. At the same time, we also recognize that at the elite levels, if you're talking about whether you're talking about the top 10 women's tennis players, the top 10 WNBA players, with the top 10 women golfers, whatever those top 10 women would be, is that there are probably 500 to 5,000 men who, if they were competing head to head, would.
But that's the thing. They don't. So why are we doing this?
But I'm just saying,
I can celebrate. I can celebrate a Pete Sampras. I can celebrate a Pete Sampras, and I can celebrate Serena Williams. And my thing is, that to me, that's the larger issue. Why can't we as a society? Yeah. The reason why we disrespect women's sports is because we disrespect women. When we stop doing that, then we got something. Laura, Joe, I thank you for bringing me on. And I hope that the conversations continue, and you both have an open invitation to come to our forum here at the Transpositions. We'd love to have you, and we'd love to talk to you, and perhaps, where do we come together? Where can we find some common ground? I think that there's more than any of us would realize. But in any case, it was good to have the conversation, and more vital, because once again, as we're seeing through all these issues, is that people are talking about us, but people aren't talking to us. And that's also something I want to encourage mainstream media to do. Stop giving the anti-trans forces a pass. Bring us on your shows. Interview us. Let us have the opportunity to give Jennifer Say or Riley Gaines, for example, the cross-examination that's been far overdue. The cross-examination about the falsehoods, the lies, and hysteria that those like them, and the politicians that they care and feed have done. Now more than ever, it's time for us to talk amongst ourselves, but also be prepared to raise our voices. And a quick note to all the cyclists out there, which I'm one of them. Stand up, speak out, and roll out. And if push comes to shove, we may have to find a future beyond the governing body. If that's what it takes, let the examination begin. For Transposition Sports, I'm Carly Chardonnay-Webb.
All right. That was frustrating to listen to. I don't know about you guys.
Exceedingly.
Well, it gets into it gets into a thing that those of you who know me will have heard me say this. What is the use of talking to these people? I understand, but I don't know what the use is, to be honest. It's like, why are we talking to William Lane Craig? Why are we having debates with these people? They're fucking cray-cray. Why do we fucking bother? Why do we go there? What is the use? The only thing that we do is elevate those arguments. All right, maybe there's a reason to do it. And Carly, I'm glad you're here, because why do you talk to these people?
Why? Well, first,
yes.
I know Laura pretty well. We've jousted on Twitter from time to time when I'm on Twitter, and actually, Laura's a lot closer to us than you think. And the main reason why I went on that show was because, honestly, there were things that Laura and I have been sparring for quite some time on Twitter, and they have their podcast. So I figured, why not go on it? Sometimes you got to play a road game, and that's what it was, a road game. And actually, there was a lot of good exchanges, good exchange of ideas. That part was one of the more contentious ones. But there was also a lot of places where, hey, they were listening to me and I was listening to them. It was good interchange, and I'm pretty sure that it'll be a very interesting discussion when they come to our forum, and they will come to our forum.
Do you think so?
Well, if they...
Laura's gonna come here. They're gonna come.
Wait. I just want to make this point. It's like, I think that what happens when we go there, the only thing that happens is that their audience gets to reinforce their own prejudices.
And it could be, but here's my thing.
And I think that's really destructive, actually.
Well, here's my thing. Their audience has never heard that point of view. And I'm throwing out a point of view. There are a lot of people that isn't out there as much. That is not, in fact, on the sports issue, in many ways, that point of view is not out. A lot of the things I'm talking about, they're not out there at all. Not many people are willing to say that. Mainly because not enough of us get an opportunity to speak our piece. And that's something that needs to change.
Well, that's true.
But I did that more as a matter of, we got to speak within our own communities right now on a lot of things.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though, Carly. It's like, I speak my piece on the race course with my competitors. Mm-hmm. And I know it's small scale. I don't think that the experience that you and I share, the experience of acceptance, the experience of love and inclusion, it doesn't scale, because love doesn't scale enough.
Agreed.
Because love doesn't scale enough. Because there's so much of a barrier to understanding.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Personal.
The only way we're gonna But the only way we're going to be able to make the odds get even is we got to tell our stories. If we're not telling our stories out in the
I
world,
know.
then what
No,
will
I
we
know.
do?
I know.
Then we're going to run to
I
the
know.
same situation.
I know, but where do we tell our stories? Where do we tell it? Do we tell our stories? I mean, we can tell our stories here,
And we should.
and we do.
But we also have to take it. But we also have to take the
But-
opportunity, especially within our own community, to tell these stories that may not that maybe people in our own community doesn't know. That the two hosts of that show, however you may feel about their views being centrist, and I have very definite
They're
opinions.
not
They both
centrist. Carly, no, they are not centrist. They are absolutely fucking not centrist. They are fucking demeaning
Stephanie, in the
of
U.S.,
their own lives.
Stephanie, in the
Of their
U.S., that's
own
where the
lives.
liberals are. That is where the
I
liberals
don't
are, and that is
care
the center.
about- Well,
It sucks.
look,
Nobody says it
it's-
doesn't suck,
look,
but it's true.
Bree. The Overton window has shifted so far in my lifetime that you wouldn't fucking believe it. And my point is that somebody needs to put a stake in the ground and not let it shift any further. And I am sick to death of people saying, well, we can have fucking conversations with these people. We can't. We have to draw a line. And if we don't, we lose. I have watched it happen over the course of the last 40 fucking years.
Well, here's the question. Two members of our own community, where do you draw that line? Remember, however you may disagree with, say, Laura and Joe, and believe me, I have fundamental disagreements with them across the board, they're trans people in the same situation we're in.
Right. And okay, and
my thing
there's
is
Brianna Wu. Are you gonna go
here's the
down
thing,
the Brianna Wu?
Well, Brianna Wu's an example of a person where I agree with you. You draw the line there. But even within those forums, there are certain lines that I won't cross, and you just saw
They
5 minutes
agree
ago.
with Brianna Wu, Carly. They are fundamentally in agreement with Brianna's thing. It's like, back off, just be cool, be groovy, and go get your FFS and go get your surgeries because you have the money to do it. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. I'm a fucking radical, Carly. I always have been.
And there's nothing wrong with
And
that.
I'm not going to fucking tolerate these bitches telling me I ought to be something different than what I am. Because you know what? That's what cis people do.
Mm-hmm. But there's only one. But here's the thing. Why not go toe-to-toe with them and have that conversation?
Because they're full of
say
shit.
That.
I am saying it now. You listen, you bitches want to talk to me? You come and talk to me. You motherfuckers, I'm 72 fucking years old. I transitioned 27 fucking years ago. You want to fucking have a conversation with me? You want to know the shit I went through as a trans athlete all my fucking life? You come and fucking talk to me.
Well, they're going to be
bitches.
well,
Listen.
So you're going to get your chance.
Listen. This crap. There is literally 25 years of history about trans inclusion in sport. There is medical data that goes way beyond that. They know it. I know it. You know it. This issue is a non-issue. The only reason it is an issue is because of cynical politicians who want to make it an issue. Every fucking governing body caved on this issue because of politics, not because of science, not because of medicine, not because of people. It's the reason they caved was because there aren't enough people to make them care. And there are enough people who are fucking bigots who want to keep it an issue in front of the public. All the rest is silence. This is a non-issue in reality. And everyone fucking knows it. And nobody will say it. I will. You might. But it's a non-issue. Nobody will acknowledge it. The medical science is behind this position. They're full of shit. The only reason they're taking this position is because it's a comfortable one.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, you're gonna get an opportunity to say it because they're coming here. And I want them to come here. I want them to meet I went there for a specific purpose because sometimes you got to speak a piece in front of a hostile crowd. They're going to be, it's a home and home agreement. You're going to get your opportunity to say it. And we need those.
This isn't a game, Carly. This is not sports. This is fucking fundamental human rights.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a game. This isn't a game. We are not playing home and home. We are not playing home and home. We are not playing games here. We are talking about people's fucking lives.
Exactly.
And they don't care.
And in case you haven't noticed, my melanin content puts me in the firing line ahead of you, Stephanie. I love you, but you're lecturing to somebody who, quite frankly, you don't need a lecture to. I know the inning and the score of what I'm in right now. And I work in a job where every night I know the inning and the score. And we're 4 runs down in the bottom of the 9th. And it ain't looking good.
And
I'm just saying.
My point, Carly, is you don't, you don't go in and invite George Wallace in for tea. That's my point. These people need to be destroyed, not talked to. That's my point. That's my point of view. You can disagree. And people can disagree with my point of view. But these people are not people of good faith. They are not talking in good faith. The transmedicalists, they think I got mine and you don't follow my path, you're not doing trans the right way. It's like those people can go screw. From my point of view, and it's for somebody to say, contrary to all the medical evidence, that trans women, by virtue of the fact that they were born male, have a tremendous advantage in sport. They are wrong medically, scientifically. They are also carrying along with, and I love the arguments you presented, they're carrying along with a huge presumption. I don't care if they're trans, a huge presumption that men are better than women and that therefore trans women are men. It's the whole thing from an ideological perspective, a scientific perspective, a social perspective. It's all wrong. And I don't care if they're trans. They are carrying that baggage. That is Brianna Wu. And I don't really want to have a conversation with them because they are wrong. I don't want to have a fucking
Can we
debate.
not have this discussion and on live on air? It just seems like a bad place to be having this discussion. So
I think it's an excellent place to have this discussion, but
I agree.
we
well,
can.
I'm gonna dip.
We
So
can.
These are
We can.
discussions.
We can.
But
We
these are
can. We can.
discussions that need to be had
Yeah.
because like it or not, these are war councils that need to be had. They need to be.
Yeah.
They need to be. And part of it is I want them to come here because I want them to come here because they need to hear from the people that aren't agreeing with them and why. Just like
Well, maybe one thing we could do is a special of some nature.
I'm for it because what you just put up right now is exactly what they need to hear. They need to hear that.
Well, if they listen to the channel, then they've heard it.
Mm-hmm. But there's something to be said but I'm a believer in talk to people directly. Have an opportunity when you can have the opportunity to talk to people directly, do it. Do it.
Well, we've lost Bree and Ember because I think that there are a number of people that don't like me because I'm very direct. I'm not willing to shade and let go of my life. And it seems to me that a number of these people are asking me to do exactly that. And after 27 years, going on 28, it'll be 28 in November. It's like, no.
I'll tell you what, I'll pay you early.
Okay.
I'll get you tomorrow. Got you tomorrow. It is now.
Thank you, baby.
So anyway,
Use us.
those
I had an
of you who are
emergency division with emergency meeting with my hairstylist. God dang it, I'm looking good for the weekend. But no, Stephanie, the fire that you're showing, we need to hear it. And they need to hear it.
Well, y'all, everybody in the chat, sorry, Ember, sorry, Hi Sai. You know me. This is me. And nobody needs to do this tonight. But I just did it tonight. And I think
and I'll tell you the truth, no sin in it. No sin in it. Because think of it this way. How much outrage as a community do we have right now? A great deal of it, because every day there's something new. New law, new something. There's a Supreme Court case that's going to decide whether any of us can play. That's going to be heard in October. And with the news tonight that one person has dropped her case in the Supreme Court and has dropped everything. The Idaho case was dropped in the Supreme Court today. The student athlete who wanted to pursue it opted out.
Yeah, because it's not worth it. And it's like, it isn't worth it. And it's back to a place where you can transition, but just don't say anything about it. And actually, it's beyond that. It's like you can't.
Well, here's my question.
I don't know what. I don't know where it goes. Y'all going to have to figure this out. I don't know how to figure it out. It makes me very sad, and I apologize, folks in the chat. If this old tranny is pissing you off, that's it, and that's just who I am. I mean,
Well,
I want to
there's
bring
nothing-
you we all want to bring you the news.
Well, here's the thing. That's
tend
part
to-
of it. That's part of the news.
I tend to bring the fire, and hope to be able to keep doing it, but maybe I won't. Anywho, good night, everybody.
Night, everyone. See you next week.